Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you so much for joining me for card or day number 26 of my Countdown to Christmas series. We're going to create a cute little joy card using a new to me die set. This is from Photoplay. It's the Joyful Snowman die set, and it creates the letters, of course, joy, and you can use the O or you could use the wreath in there to replace the joy. So let's jump in and start off by die cutting out all of them. We'll do all of them at once. Sometimes it's easier. I went ahead and separated the wreath, but we're going to die cut it out twice with white cardstock. And then I'm going to take that wreath that I separated and bring in some pattern paper from a 6x6 paper pad. I'm using a fall paper pad, which is weird for Christmas, but I loved the greens in here. This is a paper pad also from Photoplay's Say It With Stamps collection. It's called Fall Plaids, and I love the green, and then there's also a solid green that kind of coordinates with it. So we're going to use that solid green and cut out one of the wreaths. And I'm going to actually keep those two papers because we're going to trim them down with the trimmer and create a background for our joy. Now I thought this joy would make a perfect mini slimline card, so that's what we're going to create. For my mini slimline cards, I like to create them at 3¼ inches by 6¼ inches. So the green paper there, I trimmed that down to 6x3, and then the plaid paper here I'm going to trim down so it's slightly smaller. We're basically going to mat the plaid on that green solid paper. Now once we have these trimmed, we're going to zoom back out. I'm going to there's a little snowman in the die set. I thought it was just adorable, and he fits in the wreath. So that's why I die cut everything with white cardstock. This way I can just pick and choose the colors that I want and color in with my Copic markers. I did do 2 sets because I want to layer the J and the O together, and then I wanted a white wreath to layer with my green wreath for my card. So 2 sets worked out great. Now all these little pieces are so neat. These are the little snowman arms. I'm coloring in just with brown marker, and instead of going with traditional bright colors, I thought the brown would be really pretty with the green, because in the green plaid paper there is some brown lines. So kind of going with a little country kind of a theme. The mittens too, I'm going to color with some brown, 2 shades of brown Copics. Just doing a little bit of dark shading with the light shading. There's also a scarf inside the die set. There's 2 pieces to the scarf. You have the little scarf that's kind of flowing in the wind, and then you have the piece that goes around the neck. I colored 2 of the flowing in the wind pieces and then I also colored in one that goes around his neck. Create the snowman. It's very easy. First we're going to layer the hat together. The hat does have a little ball that you can put on the fluffy ball for the hat you can add, and it also has the cuff for the hat, which I'm going to color in brown. Just add a thin bead of glue on the bottom, and then we can add our little hat piece, and you can see the 2 shades of brown that I chose, kind of like a chestnut brown, and then also like a dark walnut brown, or maybe a lighter walnut brown I should say. Okay, I went ahead and added the sticks for the arms, and then added the mittens. There are little itty bitty cuffs for the mittens, so I die cut those out, and just I just think it looks so cute. There are little dots that you can die cut out for the eyes and the buttons on the snowman, but instead of using those, I just chose to use my black Jelly Roll marker to dot the eyes. I did color the carrot nose with my orange Copic marker, and then again for the buttons I just used my black marker. I layered the 2 pieces for my scarf, and then we're just going to tack them down behind the neck piece, and our little snowman is good to go, and perfect size for putting inside the little wreath. And I just think he turned out really cute. Well, I'm partial to snowmans anyway, so never did with brown accents, but I'm loving the way it turned out. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take our card base. Again, this is a mini slimline card base that's 3¼ inches wide by 6¼ inches tall. We're going to adhere our dark green layer first, It's going to leave me a little bit of a border. And then my plaid paper, again, is slightly smaller. We're going to go ahead and adhere that. And then after that's done, we're going to go and grab our glue, layer the J's together. And you don't have to do this. They're big enough to where you can put foam squares behind. But sometimes I like the solid sturdiness of layering big letters like this together. And 2 works great, but I think I'm going to die cut out a couple more and layer 4 together to give it the dimension that I want. We're going to end up popping up our wreath for the O, and so I wanted a little bit more dimension with these letters. So 4 stacked beautifully together. Okay, now after our J and our Y are all nice and stacked, we're going to go ahead and add our J to the very top. Just flip it around, add some glue, and then we'll add our Y to the very bottom. Best thing about glue is you get a little bit of wiggle room, especially with pattern paper. You don't want to tear it if you use your tape runner or adhesive. Okay, now our wreath, what I'm going to do is flip the white one on the reverse side that you would normally die cut it, so it's not the same as the green wreath. I just flipped it around. This way some of that white is peeking out, and I love the way this looks. It kind of reminds me of a snowy wreath. I added a little bit of glue. This way we can tuck the bottom of our snowman in here. And I put them in up through the back, but you don't have to do that. Put them in through the top. It's probably a little bit easier, but I just love the way he turned out. And I love, again, the colors are just kind of a little bit of a country style card, I guess you could say. I'm going to grab some foam squares, and we are going to pop up our wreath and place this where the O would go for joy. I have to trim this one down a little bit to put behind those scarves. And I'll bring in some smaller foam squares to put around the wreath. We're just going to remove the release paper and add that to our mini slimline card. And then we need some bells and whistles. Now I thought about using glitter, and I thought, well, glitter can get kind of messy, so I'm going to use some Stickles. I'm using frosted lace Stickles. I've used this on quite a few Christmas cards this year, but this it's going to give me dimension, but it's also going to give me a little bit of a snowy effect, and we're going to add that to the J and the Y. I do want to add a little bow, so I took some white twine, tied a bow. I'm going to grab one of my glue dots, because the glue that I use, I love this glue. It's called Barely Art Precision Craft Glue, but it does take a little bit of time to adhere. So sometimes using a glue dot for bows is nice. I'll just attach my bow using a glue dot. We'll trim the tails of our white twine there. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in our frosted lace Stickles. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit, almost like a snowdrift kind of effect to our letters. So we'll add a little to the bottom and then a little bit to the top. And then I'm going to bring in some Nuvo crystal drops. This is simply white. And rather than adding colored bulbs, I'm going to keep it kind of neutral and add some white ornaments to the wreath in the background. Kind of add a little bit more white to that mid area. And rather than doing a snowdrift kind of effect to our letters, I thought we're going to fill in the entire letter with that frosted lace Stickles. I love the way it turns out. When it dries, it's kind of really soft, but it does look like snow, and it gives a lot of dimension. But that is, I'm going to add some to the scarf too of my little snowman. But that's my card today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for day number 26 of my Countdown to Christmas series. Hope you enjoyed my project. If you want to see still shots, head on over to my blog. I'll leave the coordinating blog post down below. And if you're interested in anything, I will leave a list down below for that also. Have a great day. Happy Tuesday. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye, guys.